This video is a show it lesson, and we can pretend to build with blocks, where we will use manipulatives to help us in our maths learning. We will use Dienes, a large piece of paper, and it would be good if you had an iPad or a way of taking pictures, but no problem if you haven't. And if you don't have Dienes, you can either draw the shapes or use online digital manipulatives, such as those on mathspot.com. So if we start with Dienes, we can see that Dienes are small cubes that are joined together to represent larger numbers. So here we have 1, and then 10 joined together, and then 100, and then 1,000 small cubes joined together to form a large cube. To remember our Dienes, we can think of a Rubik's Cube, as you can see here. And we can pretend to try to solve a Rubik's Cube when we say Dienes. We'll start off with place value to understand column addition. In column addition, we organize our numbers into columns, like you can see with our lines here. And we can karate chop in straight lines to remember column addition. We organize our columns for ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands. I like to think of the army when I think of column addition. As in the army, you have to line up in straight lines and be organized. I think of the 1 column with privates in charge, and I salute for private 1s, and you can see our private in the picture. And for our 10s, we have a captain in charge, so captain 10s, and I twirl a pretend moustache, as you can see with our captain in the picture. For our hundreds, I see a major in charge, so major hundreds, and I sit up straight, like you can see our major standing up straight in the picture. And for our thousands, I see a general in charge, so general thousands, and for general thousands, I pretend to place a cap on my head, like you can see with our general in the picture. To help us, we can also think of our army traveling in different ships of increasing importance on our blue sea line. You might ask, do they always have to stay on their own ship? And the answer is no. There's also the submarine regroup, which lets them travel between ships, as you can see. We'll talk more of this later. There are rules for our ships. Only 9 privates are allowed on our private 1 ship, and only 9 teams of 10 are allowed on our captain 10 ship, and only 9 teams of 100 are allowed on our major 100 ship, and only 9 teams of 1,000 are allowed on our general 1,000 ship. There's also a rule for our submarine regroup, in that 10 are needed. 10 privates or 10 teams are needed for it to travel between ships. So if we look at our first calculation, 387 add 561 equals, and we can form an addition sign with our arms for add. These are large numbers, so we will use column addition, and we can karate chop in straight lines for our straight columns when we say column addition. We start with our column headings. Our private 1s we can salute. Our captain 10s we can twirl a pretend moustache. And our major hundreds we can sit up straight. We then add in our columns with our 2 lines for our answer and our addition sign. We look at 387 with 3 hundreds, 8 tens and 7 1s, and 561 with 5 hundreds, 6 tens and 1 1. So let's have a look with our Dienes, and we can pretend to solve a Rubik's Cube. We count in our Dienes for 387, so we've got 3 teams of 100, we've got 8 teams of 10, and 7 privates. And then for 561, we've got 5 teams of 100, 6 teams of 10, and 1 private. Right, let's add now. So we've got 7 private 1s in our private 1 column, add 1 private 1. So 7 add 1 gives us 8. Now this is fine, as you need to remember our rule on our private ones ship that only 9 are allowed. But we have 8, so they can all fit on the ship. So that's fine. So we can write 8 into our private ones column. Next we move on to our Captain 10s column, and we can twirl a pretend moustache. And we have 8 teams of 10, add 6 teams of 10. So 8 add 6 gives us 14 teams of 10, which we can add in our Dienes. Now, 14 teams of 10, 14 is a problem. As remember, in our Captain 10's ship, we are only allowed 9 teams of 10. 9 teams of 10, and we have 14. So this is too many. So what do? This is where our submarine regroup comes into it. And for regroup, we can group our hands together. The submarine also has a rule where 10 are needed. So in this case, 10 teams of 10 are needed to fill it. So we regroup. I'm going to take 10 teams. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Watch them disappear. There they go. And I'm going to squash them and regroup them into one team of 100. You can see our blue 100 there. This team of 100 we can then send to the next column to be under the command of our major 100. So they sink down, and we can point down like our arrow. Let's have a look at them go. There they go. The submarine regroup, we can group our hands, remember, then moves across, and we can point across like our arrow to move to the next column, as you can see. So now our submarine regroup has traveled across. We can now think about our numbers. We've said 7 add 1 gives us 8 in our private ones column, and we've put in our number. And in our Captain 10's column, we only have 4 teams of 10, as 10 teams have been regrouped into a team of 100, and they've sunk down and moved across. So in our Captain 10's column, we've only got 4 teams of 10, and there's one team of 100 that is underneath our 100s column. You can see our one team of 100, and there's our one team of 100 in our Dienes. So we only write in our one team of 100 where it finishes its journey underneath our 100s column. We can then move on to our major 100s column and sit up straight. So we've got 3 100s add 5 100s. So 3 add 5 or 5 add 3 gives 8 teams of 100. But we can't forget the 100 in our submarine regroup. So we don't forget it, we draw a circle around it, and we can draw a circle in the air. We add an extra 100 from our submarine regroup. So in our Dienes, we had 8 100s, and then we add another one to make 9 100s. And in our numbers, we just write 9 for 9 100s. We then cross off our extra 100 as we've added it. And we can form a cross with our arms to remember to do this. So we've got our answer 948, and we've regrouped in our 10s column. Time for your go to show it, and we can build with blocks to use Dienes to column add. So let's do one together. Get your iPad, if you have one, ready to take pictures. We have our example question, so E1 bracket, example 1, 473 add 466 equals. So in the top corner of a large piece of paper, write E1 bracket for example 1. We then create our columns with a ruler, and we can karate chop for column addition, so column addition. And then what else do we need? We need our addition signs, and we need our column headings for our private ones, for our Captain 10s, and for our major 100s. We then add in our numbers, making sure everything lines up in our columns. So there we go, 473 add 466. So pause the video and do this now, please. We then count in our Dienes. So we've got 4 teams of 100, 7 teams of 10, 3 1s. And then we've got, again, 4 teams of 100, 6 teams of 10, and 6 ones. Right, pause the video, do this, and take a picture with your iPad, please. We start with our private ones column, so 3 add 6. We'll swap, so 6 add 3. 6 add 3 is 6, 7, 8, 9. We've got 9 private ones. We've got to think of our private ones ship, where 9 are allowed, and we've got 9, so that's fine. They fit exactly. So we can count out 9 Dienes, and then we can write our number 9 in. Right, pause the video, do this, and take a picture with your iPad, please. Next, we add our Captain 10s column. So 7 teams of 10 add 6 teams of 10 is 7 add 6 is 13 teams of 10, so we can count them in. Pause the video, do this, and take a picture with your iPad, please. We've got a problem. We've got 13 teams of 10. Do you remember the rule on our Captain 10 ship? Only 9 teams are allowed, and we've got 13, so we've got too many. So we need to move some on. So we can call for our submarine regroup, group our hands together, and remember how many teams can fit on there? 10. So we need 10 teams to fit onto our submarine regroup. So we can change 10 teams of 10 and regroup them into 1 team of 100 to fit onto our submarine. Right, pause the video, do this, and take a picture with your iPad, please. This team of 100 then sinks down, and we can point down with our arrow. As you can see, I've just moved it down here, it's appeared down here. So pause the video, do this, and take a picture with your iPad, please. And it travels across. We can point across, and you can see it appear underneath the hundreds column. Right, we need to concentrate back to our numbers now. We've said 6 add 3 gives us 9, so 9 ones. And now we move on to our Captain 10s. 7 add 6. We've got, in our Dienes, we've got 3 teams of 10 left, because we've regrouped our 10 teams of 10 to give us 100, remember, and it's sunk down and it's got across. Right, so we're left with 3 in our 10s column, so we can write that in. Our 1 team of 100 is underneath our hundreds column, so there's our 1 team of 100. So pause the video, do this, and take a picture with your iPad, please. We can then think of our major 100 column. So we've got 4 teams of 100, add 4 teams of 100, gives 8 teams of 100. But we can't forget the 100 in our submarine regroup, which we draw a circle in the air. Right, pause the video, do this, and take a picture with your iPad, please. So we'll add this extra 100. So watch, my 8 hundreds in my Dienes changes to 9 hundreds in my Dienes, and in terms of numbers, we write 9 in. Right, we can then cross off our extra 100, so I can form a cross with my arms, as we've already added it. And we've got our answer, 939, and we've regrouped in our 10s column. Right, pause the video, do this, and take a picture with your iPad, please. Now it's your turn with question number 1, and then if you come back to this video, we'll go through the answer. If you want more practice, you can look at questions 2 and 3, but you'll have to ask an adult to check through those answers. Don't forget to line up your private ones, your Captain 10s, and your major 100s. And then you add your private ones, you add your Captain 10s, and then you realize with your 10s column, you have too many teams of 10. You have more than the 9 teams of 10 allowed. So what do we need to do? We regroup, we call for our submarine regroup, and we take 10 teams of 10, squeeze them into our submarine as 1 team of 100. We send the submarine down and then across to our major 100s column. We add our major 100s column, but we don't forget that we need to circle and then add on our regrouped 1 team of 100 Once we've added it, we can cross her off and we have our answer. We'll start you off with the columns and lines. Don't forget to take pictures of each stage. Right, pause the video and off you go. So we'll just check quickly so you can mark. Hopefully you counted out your Dienes. So double check that you've got the right number, and then you started with your private ones, and your 6 add 2 gives 8. So we wrote our number in, so double check for me. And then we moved on to our captain 10s. 8 add 8 gives us 16. So we counted out 16 teams of 10. Hopefully you realized now we needed to call for a submarine regroup because our captain 10 ship only allows 9 teams of 10 and we've got 16. So we've got to regroup 10 teams of 10, there they go, to form one large team of 100. Then our one team of 100 sunk down and moved across to our 100s column. And we can then think of our numbers. 8 add 8 gives 16. There's the 6 teams left, and the one team of 100 is underneath our hundreds column. We then add our major hundreds, so 2 add 4, 4 add 2, swap them round, gives us 6 hundreds, but we've got to remember our extra regrouped one team, which we circle. We add an extra 100, which changes our hundreds from 6. Watch an extra 100 appear in my Dienes. There we go, there's our extra 100. So from 6 to 7 teams of 100. We then write in our number, we've got 7 hundreds, and we can cross off our extra 100 as we've added it. And we can form a cross with our arms. So we've got our answer, 768, and we've regrouped in the tens column. In this video, we looked at addition, concentrating on using column addition with regrouping in the tens to add hundreds, tens, and ones using Dienes. And our steps to success, we can hopefully say at the end of this video, are: number 1, I can set out column addition using hundreds, tens, and ones, numbers, and Dienes. And number 2, I can add ones, tens, and hundreds. And number 3, I can regroup tens. And number 4, I can add the regrouped 100. This has been a Teaching Alive short video taken from themed units aimed at learners aged 7 to 11. Throughout our videos, we use pictures and suggest actions for teaching points. So please join in with us to support learning and have some fun. For more information on the Teaching Alive project, and to be shown to learn and to practice more, visit teachingalive.co.uk.